The Aviators was made possible by...
When the unexpected happens, the Lifesaver provides 1 hour of emergency attitude reference, giving you the time you need to land safely. In a mission's darkest moment, trust Mid-Continent Instruments.
Now for the first time on TV, the stories and reports of the people who fly and the aircraft they fly. And you are invited in an exciting, pulse-pumping new television series designed for everyone who has ever gazed skywards and dreamt of slipping the bonds of Earth. The Aviators.
This week on The Aviators, it's all about airlines as we take you inside WestJet, which operates one of the newest fleets in North America. We're going to show you what a typical day is like for a Boeing 737 pilot. Curtis is heading behind the scenes as we tell you all about airliner maintenance. And we look at how RNP and winglets can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. From the Boundary Bay Airport, this is The Aviators.
Every day, about 35,000 commercial aircraft crisscross the skies over North America. There's more than 5,000 in the air right now. The reliability and safety record of the airline industry is no accident. Today, The Aviators is going to take you behind the scenes at WestJet to find out what it takes to keep their fleet of Boeing 737s ready for takeoff.
To keep their 737s flying, WestJet operates a massive facility in Calgary as well as maintenance stations all across the country. Vice President Russ White is responsible for overseeing the 450 employees who maintain WestJet's 90 aircraft. Russ spoke to Curtis while WestJet's crews were performing a 6-month inspection on one of their 737-600s.
So Russ, people are familiar with maintenance schedules on things like cars. You have to change the oil, you have to change the tires, you have to replace your timing belt. What kind of maintenance schedule exists for a jet?
We maintain the airplane in accordance with the manufacturer's specifications. So they'll give us what we call a maintenance planning document. Gives the intervals for all the tasks that are involved in maintaining the airplane. Everything from checking oils all the way up to the major structural inspections that we do at the 10 and 12-year visits. So it's a very involved maintenance program, and we will take that and evolve it into meeting our needs, and it'll all be approved by Transport Canada in the end. So the whole program is approved by Transport Canada.
As one would expect, the maintenance schedule performed on a commercial airliner is certainly more complex than a single-engine Cessna. However, many of the tasks that are performed are very similar to those that a general aviation pilot may be familiar with.
Let's talk about the maintenance schedule. How often do you change the oil in a jet?
Actually, there's no requirement to change the oil in the jet. We continuously add oil to that. It's a high-quality synthetic oil, but we will check the filters and pull what we call the magnetic plugs, check for any magnetic particles inside the engine oil, and that'll be the on-condition inspection that we do of the engine.
So how often does an engine last on a jet airplane?
Well, barring any major events like a bird strike or something like that, we expect our engines to go to what we call life-limited parts, the interval. So probably about 20,000 cycles for the engines is what we expect to get the life out of those engines, being a very reliable engine.
Now, how often do you have to change the tires on a jet?
Tires, typically, though, it depends on the season we're operating in. They don't last as long in a hot environment in the summertime. So probably about 250 landings we'll get out of each tire.
For the 6-month check that this 737-600 is undergoing, WestJet has to pull the aircraft out of rotation for 2 days. This allows them to thoroughly clean the aircraft, lubricate any necessary parts, and change any belts and filters. In addition to the 6-month check, a week-long structural inspection of the aircraft takes place every 2 years. Otherwise, the majority of the maintenance on the aircraft is done at night.
Now, most of your aircraft are out on revenue flights during the day, so I imagine this place is hopping at night. What would we see if we came here late at night?
Well, late at night, you'd see more than one airplane in the hangar. Airplanes make money out on the line. So probably about 14 airplanes here. Some would be up at the ramp, some would be in the other 2 bays we have here in Calgary, and we'd be doing what we call phase checks on those airplanes, or engine inspections that come due as well. So the guys are phasing that maintenance into overnight tasks, and we don't have to take the airplane out of service for extended periods of time.
So one of the things that I guess must happen is that your aircraft fly back and forth across the continent all the time. There's got to be unscheduled things that happen. How do you manage that as an airline?
All airplanes are constantly in contact with what we call our maintenance control center, which is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if there's a problem on the airplane, we'll have guys all across Canada who are available to go out and fix that airplane depending upon what the snag is.
So what kind of things happen in the course of a day?
It can be anything. I mean, there's so many systems on the airplane. It can anything. The guys can be called out to change a guest seatbelt, anything to a tire change, a brake change, or any snag that the pilot may discover in the operation of the airplane during the day.
Occasionally, the pilots can find potential snags during the walk-around inspection or while inspecting the cabin. Today, Raylene completed her walk-around without finding any problems, and she moves quickly inside to help prepare the cabin for departure. On WestJet flights, the captain and first officer are responsible for every aspect of the aircraft. This means they take part in grooming the cabin and actually check the seatbelts. After completing the cabin check, Raylene heads to the cockpit where she completes a pre-flight checklist with the captain. Once this is complete, she enters the current conditions into the aircraft's Acars, or Aircraft Communication Addressing and Reporting System.
Well, I'm just going to enter in the information here. We have the Acar takeoff conditions, so we're going to put that in right now in terms of what we have for the runway conditions, wet runway, the winds. I'm going to send it off, and it comes back incredibly fast. As I was saying before, it used to be all me when I was flying VFR. Now, part of the team. We send this off, they calculate it for us, and let us know what numbers are going to work.
This flight is the beginning of a pairing with this pilot for Raylene. She'll work 4 days with this captain and then have another 4 days off.
Today for me it's a beginning of a pairing, and I operate one flight going to Calgary, and I'm just going to put in the information. I basically get here, check in for my flight. We did our crew briefing, and now it's just a short hop over to Calgary. So it's a nice short day for me.
Raylene has to complete her pre-flight and then is off to Calgary. The passengers are boarding, and shortly the plane will taxi out onto the runway and take off into the air.
Off we go. An hour and 1 minute in the air.
The Aviators, for everyone who has ever gazed skywards.
For more information on today's segments, visit www.theaviators.tv.